Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a shame indeed, because he was definitely showing up and hitting the numbers last week. But we'll see if the Pensioners can bounce back after that change. And it's going to be the Pensioners starting on the CT side. At least they've got that. They've got the start on the more favored half. They can get that momentum going. They can certainly make this happen, Alex. Reason Gaming, Utility picked up on Pulse, but the rest with Kevlar.
And Swaggy, that man we were talking about, has picked up the kit for the Pensioners side of things. I was maybe a bit surprised to see Swaggy pick it up instead of someone like Yuho, but there we go. We will get into it. And Yuho, speaking of the man, steps it up. 3 kills on the ramp hold, and he's got Connor waiting close by. And that has gone about as well as it could have for Pensioners. What a start to the game.
Yeah, that's a great start for the Pensioners. That's exactly what they would like. They need to come out of the gate just bolting as fast as they can, and while Reason not able to stop that at all. And the Pensioners, well, not too much resistance should be brought against them in this next round at all from the Reason Gaming side. When we take a look at what they've got across the table, it's 5 Glocks, Alex, so this should be an easy cleanup again for the Pensioners.
Also worth noting that Luzza has got that silenced M4 on, which I figured we might see from those AWPers who want to be able to have a slightly cheaper M4 and save a bit of extra cash for the future rounds. So that's cool to see Luzza having that in his hands. Jake M almost caught in the back, but the bomb will be dropped on the site. Yuho with another triple kill. Back-to-back 3Ks for him in these first 2 rounds. But here comes the buy for Reason. Not a bad buy for them either. They've got pretty good nades across the board. AKs as well.
I love how we've just immediately skipped all the boring rounds at the start and got immediately into the gun rounds. It feels like we haven't even had a pistol and a follow-up. It's just quickly get this over and done with. Now we get into the real rounds. And while Reason Gaming have got 5 AKs, plenty of utility. Good buy, like you said, across the board here. The Pensioners going for a little bit of a bonus, keeping their SMGs in play. Weaker weapons in terms of the FAMAS. We'll see if it pays off for them. Stanley, a little bit of a battle of the chickens. It's going to be Connor that comes out on top, and oh my god, nearly gets a second.
Oh, great work from Connor to get away with that one there. Stanley taking a bit of a risk as he tries to take the fight on the edge of the smoke. And Stanley is one of the players that we've talked about being a bit quiet for this Reason Gaming squad so far. And again, quiet start for them so far in this game. They're still yet to get a kill on the board. That should be changing in this round with these AKs at their disposal. And it looks like the outside smokes are about to be lined up.
Oh, there they go. Yeah,
well,
outside smokes.
Smoke. There we go.
That's the second one coming a little bit later. Yuho had pushed all the way up. He does get checked by Fry, who immediately is traded back by Swaggy. Now the ramp push is coming through. Luzza's just leaving the position. He does leave Connor in the back lines, but he's so low. 1 bullet would be enough. But if he catches Pulse, he'll just get a kill early on here with the MP9. They haven't checked him. There's the kill on towards Pulse, and Astro finally gets the kill back in. But it's a 1v4 overall for the in-game leader. He'll run towards the lower bomb site. The Dig just punched in, and now Astro has to find himself a couple of kills quickly, but it's Swaggy immediately taking the fight and winning it here for the Pensioners. 3-0.
Yeah, nice work from Pensioners there, especially on the yard position earlier in the round, because Reason were trying to fake the outside smokes. They were trying to fake the fact that the entire team were going to go down secret, but the CTs had 2 players there, so as soon as they stopped, Pensioners stop Reason from getting down secret. They know that it's not going to be that outside play. They can be much more prepared on the other positions. They can remain on top of those trades. And an early pause coming through here. Reason have been read pretty hard in these early rounds. They can afford to buy some pistols in this one, but it's not the start that Reason would have been wanting, considering this is a game that they want to win to make sure they keep their top spot.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on all of the teams today. We'll see which ones crumble under it and which ones will prevail. Endpoint certainly showed up today when the pressure was on them. A little more pressure on Endpoint than Reason. They've got a nice kind of pressure. It's like, will we remain the top team or like the second team? You know, it's not such a bad luxury to have. Well, Reason Gaming, they have got themselves quite a few pistols in play in this round. A little bit of Kevlar, but it should be a 4th round in play for the Pensioners. Fry just speeding up straight through the vent in towards the lower bomb site already. That causes a rotation from Connor as he has to look down in towards B. The rest of the push coming in towards outside.
Yeah, even though he didn't have the bomb in his hands there, Fry, as he dropped down the vents, Pensioners were aware that he may have had the bomb, so they rotated to cut that off. Now the rest of the squad will join up. Connor is on the B side, though. They've got to trade him out, and they do so. 1-for-1 trade and access to the B site as Jenko gets a second kill.
Well, Jenko... Yuho is moving forward with 2 kills. He'll go back in for more. There's a third for him. Fry in the back line. Manages 1. He'll spray away, but JCam will win the 1v1 duel. It'll be around on the board for the Pensioners, but nearly stolen away from Reason Gaming. That is so damn close. Jenko and Fry landing 2 between them. And unfortunately, the final battle just is won by the skin of his teeth here for JCam.
Positive signs for a reason, at least. Getting down secret, getting down onto the B site with just the pistols, upping the pace in that round as well as a team, which may be something that they could go for in these gun rounds. Although they've got the AWP now, so they don't need to go for the fast plays. Astro's got the AWP on the T side. He can go for a pick. Same on the CT side, though. Luz has got the AWP in his hands for the first time. Definitely 2 capable AWPers on both teams. So we might see that fight come into play as Luz is getting aggressive again over at Yard. Pensioners are trying to take away that area of the map from their opponents.
Well, they go towards outside. It's going to be a Reason with their smokes at the ruddy. Luz up, pushed up on red with the AWP in his hands. He'll be scoped in. This can be a very difficult angle to fall back on, so he's really relying on his teammates to be able to help him out. With the smokes coming in, that's going to segregate him. At least he should be good for 1, and there it is. Nearly the lineup for 2. He does land both shots, goes back to finish off his prey. He initially maimed, and that's going to be Fry hitting the deck. Connor now tested in towards the ramp room. He'll be overrun by Pulse, and we're into a 3v4.
Yeah, just the 1 kill needed to get down towards this B site. Molotov in play, but Yuho stands behind it. Quick trade from Stanley. Might give them access to the B site, but the rotate's already here. Astro, okay, Stanley just about gets away with that kill. It's turned into a 2 versus 2. Fake plant again. It's all action all over the map right now, but it's Astro who has to clutch, and he won't be able to do so. Swaggy stands tall on the B site as Pensioners gain a 5-0 lead. And again, that outside presence is something that Reason haven't been able to deal with so far.
The Pensioners are off to a flying start here on the CT side of Nuke. You know, we look at this team and wonder, maybe a couple of their rotations or setups won't be in place, but they have certainly silenced us, Alex. And silence Reason Gaming yet to post around, but maybe this can be the turning point for them.
I think the thing is, those CT rotations aren't as relevant when they're playing so aggressively, because they're the ones kind of in control of the information. They're almost the ones getting the early information to allow the rotates in the first place. So I love how Pensioners have started this one off.
Yeah, it's a really impressive stance. It's going to be Pulse taking 1 towards Swaggy. A follow-up kill from Stanley as well as they'll move in towards the A-bomb site. This is a change in pace and Reason Gaming winning the battle at the moment. Luz are forced away from heaven, and the Pensioners have to consider a retake. Something they haven't really had to do too much of.
Switch up from Reason in their aggression, this time into the A site. Connor winning that fight, though, could give Pensioners a way into this round on the retake, but the smoke is going to make life difficult for them. Connor's coming in on the backstab, but I think they're backing away. Half the time gone on the bomb. Pensioners have decided that this retake isn't going to be too possible, and some of the Pensioners don't have too much money right now, so they've got to try and hold on to these guns, which is looking good for them so far. Yuho gets another kill on the exit, so it's only Jenko left for Reason. He should be able to hold on to his AK, especially with that kill. But Reason finally on the board.
Finally, around that they desperately needed, they claw their way into. Is it consistent, though? That is the question. That's always the question you have to ask when you see these one-sided leads begin to be established, and then suddenly a team answers back with 1. You've got to see them try and continue this moving forward. It can't just be a 1 and done. We'll see what Reason have up their sleeve. It's going to be 4 AKs, 1 MAC-10 yet again. The same recipe that garnered their first round in the previous. Stanley quick and hot in the heels. There goes Yuho, straight out of the sight. Stanley moving in. And while damage has been done to the only sole player here, and it's JKM that somehow deals with it first. He will eventually drop, but his teammates have done so much. The bomb's on the floor, Alex. And while JKM, really the hero there in that round, wasn't expecting him to get anything.
Yeah, just buys time for Swaggy's backstab. And Connor just about reacts to the player that pops onto his screen once the smoke fades. It's Jenko who's going to be able to bypass these players. He's got the rotate down to the B site. He's got the free bomb plant. And Jenko's been in fine form for Reason so far. So don't count him out of this 1v3.
Jenko. There should be 7 kills on the scoreboard, but Loza, oh, he's going to lose his head. Now a real chance here for Jenko, a second kill. That's 3, but the defuse is coming through. And Connor, he will pull it off just behind the pillar. Gets the kill at the end as well. 6-1 for the Pensioners. The kills may come in for Jenko, but Connor just hides and defuses. And the round is stolen away.
Even just getting the bomb plant there, though, and getting some kills near the end of the round is actually pretty massive from Jenko, because it keeps Reason buying. It keeps them putting on the pressure, and Pensioners have had to expend all their money into this round. They've got no more buffer, no more bank built up. So if Reason can win this round, then that previous round becomes all worth it. And Stanley, hello.
God. Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, hero in the previous, idiot in the next. The life story of Connor McCall. Now while Swaggy in towards main, just holding on, Jenko has crossed by, using the smokes to evade vision. Fry's got himself in towards the vent again. Oh no, Swaggy's patience might just pay off here.
Feels like we're about to see fights in all sorts of positions across the map. The door's about to be opened. Swaggy does take that fight over outside, so he gets the kill and the advantage for his team. Fry, though, going up through the vents, nearly gets dealt with, but Astro covers his teammate off, and they're getting onto this A-bomb site.
Well, Fry had a little journey towards the bottom of the vent, but dies on the top with Loza from heaven striking down with the AWP, and now Yuho comes up the vent instead. Oh my god, nearly with the alligator, chopping away. But Yuho hits the deck, and now Loza having to back away, having to try and save this AWP into the next one. Reason Gaming, it is not a pretty round, but it is a win.
Looks like Reason might have found the weak point of the Pensioners' defense on that A site. They've been able to get onto A a couple of times now. And this time it's going to lead to another round win for them. They're just looking to hold on, but he could be in trouble now. They're closing the distance. The nade lands right onto his noggin. He's down to 40 health, and the headshot from Pulse secures it. AWP can be saved by Reason if they want it. They're just going to stick with the AKs, though. I think Reason have realized they forced their opponents down to a weak money situation, so they'd rather not have the AWP in some maybe close-range fights they're going to have to take here against the Pistols of Pensioners, who haven't got their money anymore. It's having to be a pretty weakened buy now for the CTs.
Starting to really wish they had a better pension. Well, utility is starting to come through. The Molotov's clear, but the smoke lands on top. That's a quick way of deploying the smokes down as you can cross as quickly as possible. And Fry again is the man who's been tasked with the suicide mission in towards the lower bomb site. Loza ready to walk into him, but Fry might just be at the ready for a headshot.
Oh, there we go. Pre-aim around the corner. Quick headshot from Fry. And there has to be a response from Pensioners because Fry's down the vents with quick access to the B site if he wants it. Door opened up. Jacob popping a flash into Hut, but there are no T's there. Oh, there is one man there. He finds Pulse in the back lines. AK recovered for Jacob, but that's at the cost of losing control of the A-bomb site.
Well, bomb planted. Fry just holding outside of the door. Astro are on the back of the boxes if needed, but it's Stanley who takes away Swaggy. Connor, JKM, and Yuho looking for a way back into this. Good tie from the scout. That nade should be a kill, and Connor manages it. It's all about damage at this point. Not really expected to win the round, but as long as they take players down with them, they make it expensive for Reason and force a few rebuys. Now 3 in total having to be repurchased into the next round here for the T side, and their economy isn't really that well built up because of the back and forth that we've had. So Reason Gaming not too happy with the end result, but will be happy enough with the overall result.
Yeah, the problem for Pensioners is, even though they've done some damage there, unfortunately, their economy doesn't really put them in a position where they can buy into this one. So this is a round where it's much more likely Reason will get away without losing too many players, and maybe they will be able to build up a bit of a bank as this half goes on. Another pause here ahead of this next round.
One this time.
Okay.
Called in. But it is a technical pause indeed by the Pensioners. When it should be a relatively quick one, and we can get right back into the action very, very quickly indeed. Now, when we take a look at the Pensioners, they are looking pretty good. They're looking strong at the start of this, but I'm starting to see a Reason chip their way back into things.
Yeah, and a lot of that early Pensioners' success came from the outside aggression, which I think Reason have kind of figured out now. Like you said earlier, they were putting that Molotov behind the red container, mainly just to get that smoke down quickly. Yep. But it does also give you the sound cue if there's a player behind the red container, which is the position that the Pensioners were making the most of. So I don't think we'll see Pensioners get away with that aggression again. And now it becomes a question of, can Pensioners continue to find success now that Reason have switched it up? And maybe they can, because Connor has landed a good scout headshot in the start of this one.
Well, not really expecting too much from this round, but every kill picked off, a damage done is impressive for the Pensioners. Reason Gaming just taking their time, clearing methodically towards outside. In these kind of rounds, you can never be too careful, right? You don't want to be caught off by any little nukes and crannies, positions where pistol stacks could be coming through. You don't want to give away anything for free. So Reason Gaming just being methodical in their approach, but they are committing to the lower bomb site where there are currently 3 players waiting for them. Connor misses a few shots, but that's not what Yuho will be doing with the Deagle, damaging and taking down Jenko. It's going to be a 3v4 with the advantage on the CT side now, but that's one of the rifles dropped.
Yeah, and Astro just runs into the A site. Even though he's only got the AWP, it could have been dangerous if there were another player on A. He's confident that A is clear, and his read on this round is right. He can get his team onto the A bomb site. Astro almost gets the chance to pull the trigger. He looks away at just the wrong time. Still, though, in a 3v3, this should be okay.
Yuho. He's being watched. I don't think there's any way he gets this kill. It's just so difficult. 2 players looking up at you. That was a chance for Swaggy, but Connor, now the last remaining player, started things off with a kill, but not expected to end with one. He had a couple of opportunities, just couldn't quite land them under the pressure. And while Reason Gaming will get a 4th round on the board, only losing 2 players there, their money will be flush. Now we take a look at the Pensioners buy. It's going to be the AWP in the hands of Lazar straight away. It's a glass cannon though, to make note that he doesn't have armor to play with. It does weaken it a little bit. He was also pretty weak overall at the minute. 4 and 6, not really the start he would be looking for. So maybe with this glass cannon, that's the way to get him in.
Now we'll see where he decides to play with his AWP. Right now, he is just covering Yard pretty passively, I should say, while Swaggy has got the more aggressive position. Where's the smoke, though? Luz has got a clear line of sight here. The flashbang being thrown does mean that Luz has not got the initial angle, but he goes back, and Astro is able to win the fight. Man advantage early for Reason Gaming.
Jenko walking up. It's going to be an easy kill on towards Swaggy as they start to wrap in towards Heaven. Now Connor playing in below towards Hell. Could be a bit of a linchpin for the CT side here. Yuho is mollied away, completely bombarded with flames. Away from his position for Connor. No, there's so much to check here. JKM falling. Yuho looking for Stanley. He wants the 2nd kill, but it's Jenko. So clean and clinical. Leaves Connor on his own in the round, and he's finally spotted. You know his last whereabouts, and Fry's quickly running towards him to try and take the kill. But unfortunately for him, the flash comes in towards his face, and Connor now has to back away. Saving this M4 into the next round wouldn't be the worst of scenarios, but winning the round is certainly impossible. So Connor will try and gather what he can and move into the next alive. He's currently 12 and 5, Alex. We always talk about Connor being an underrated player in this Pensioners roster, and yet again having a good performance.
Yeah, pretty solid game from him, but he's been having to save in quite a few of these rounds now, sadly. I think he's been playing ramp room in most of these rounds, and that can be a difficult position to rotate away from. You saw him in this one just try and see if he can spot the players in Heaven. He was pushing through Hell to try and find an angle, but Reason had already started wrapping the A site. So he didn't get there in time, wasn't able to have impact. And I think the real problem in that round for Pensioners was that as soon as Luzza goes down, as soon as he loses that battle of the AWPers. Swaggy is just so isolated at Yard. He's trapped in that garage position with players all around him. He ends up getting blindsided by the players wrapping around into heaven. And once Reason get a 2-man lead in that round, it's probably all over at that point. And that's what ends up happening. They close it out, and now Pensioners only have the one saved rifle alongside some pistols.
Pulse taking down Jake M. A man advantage here on the T side. Reason Gaming looking to try and hold on to it and even extend upon it. And we have started to see the weakness we highlighted earlier on was the Pensioners without Shaney today, without the likes of Riggin, they're going to be missing a lot of firepower, and I certainly feel like that is the case because we've already seen they're just losing a lot of the battles, even when they have the rifles in play. They aren't effectively trading 1-for-1. It's very much losing a player and Reason to take 2. So I feel like when the rounds have got a little bit more difficult, Pensioners have started to struggle. Yuho left in an unwinnable position here with an AK. No kit to play with, no utility either, Alex. I think it's save time yet again. Save simulator for the Pensioners.
Ooh, maybe not going for the full-on save, having a little investigation, but Jenko, I should say, will take him away. I think your point earlier is definitely applicable here because Yuho has been having a pretty good game actually at 17 kills, and yet still it's not been enough firepower for this Pensioners squad, which is concerning to say the least. I think Luzza, like you said, has been having a quiet game by his standards. Swaggy has been pretty mediocre so far, unfortunately. Not been in the best positions to get kills, perhaps. So it's just not been enough for Pensioners so far. After such a strong start, Reason have now cottoned on to that early aggression that was costing them, and they've completely turned this game around.
Yeah, good reply from the Reason side, starting to get very comfortable now on this T side. Going to be taking the lead in this round unless there's going to be a big hold from the Pensioners. Swaggy finds an important kill. He's dropped to 47 HP, and Yuho getting aggressive, forced forward by the Flames. Needs the shot. Oh, that is just unfortunate. There was no way he could fall back. He had to go and take the fight. He tries to make the most of it, but again, Swaggy and Luzza having to save over into the next one. Luzza was just not involved at all in that round. So 7-6, Reason Gaming into the lead. And they are feeling very comfortable right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're having some issues on the Pensioners side holding this A site. This time it was Jacob who was really pretty much alone on the A site itself. And he's generally been the A site anchor, but whenever those nades have come over the top, Jacob's struggled to deal with them. Sometimes it's been the full executes onto A with Molotovs as well, but this round it was just a single flash that fully blinded him. And it was a great flash from Reason to get them onto the bomb site, but you've got to think on the Pensioners side that they need another player in a position that's not going to get blinded so that Jacob can be covered there because he's just a sitting duck in that position. And now Pensioners will decide to force around what they saved. A couple of weaker guns in the mix. Connor's got the auto shotty in his hands, which is very viable on this map in some spots. Normally you see it on top of the hut, but this time he's taking it into ramp room where it's just as viable. And then Jacob's got the FAMAS as well. So we'll see if Pensioners can make the most of a couple of weaker guns in this round, as they might be going for this outside aggression again.
Oh, Yuho springing through the smoke. Fry hits the deck. Jenko able to trip back, and now we've got ourselves an advantage here for Reason yet again on this T side. You know, when you have a 4v4, it may not be technically a mad advantage, but it certainly does favor the T side. Forces the CTs to have a weakness somewhere on their defense, and well, this is the perfect reply. It's to get aggressive, to get back into the action, take a little bit of map control back, and sort of suffocate the Reason side. But look at this position from Swaggy, in behind towards the secret stairs. This push of JM, oh, needed to work for him. It's not really required there, Alex. I don't feel like he needed to do that. He's actually just given them the bomb site.
Yeah, I wonder if Jacob was a bit worried because he accidentally made a noise as he was jumping on top of Hut. So maybe he was worried he'd given away his position and just decided to try and get the drop on his opponents. But it ends up going the opposite way, and now this retake is very difficult.
Yeah, it's I'd say verging on the realms of impossibility at the moment. Jenko is going to take away Swaggy. Luzza still remains on 4 kills. I literally don't know what Luzz is doing right now. I feel like he's just in spawn all the time.
Yeah, he's been playing around Heaven, I think, and around those sorts of positions, because in that round he flashed his teammate in on that yard aggression. He might not save the ult this time, though. The nades, the players all coming in. There was even a flashbang from Stanley, which ended up getting a flash assist, and Liz's ult is finally taken out of his hands. He's still got money to buy another one, though.
Yeah. He's been saving enough. At least they give him a Viking funeral at the end there.
Yeah,
not burning him. But
yeah, like Liza could maybe just play like down secret or something.
I think you just need to change him up. Like, he's such a talented player. You just need to get him involved across the map. He's just in such a stale position. I want to get him involved in the action. I want to get his confidence up, start taking fights. That might just be the case here, though, because the AWP is definitely the pivotal weapon in play.
Wow, Fry just running across yard. Swaggy can hear this, surely.
Well, Wonder didn't do much. Swaggy and gets one on the FAMAS. Fry able to take him away in reply. We've got ourselves a man advantage in play for Reason, and Astro is going to follow up by taking away Yuho. Now 2 players on the Pensioners side versus the 2 advantaged here for Reason. Ooh, easy kill for Pulse. Very, very easy stuff here for the T side. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. Just a standard default. Sees a little bit of control early on and just hold for a couple of mistakes. And there it is. 9-6 at the half. Reason Gaming, an excellent recovery after what was a pretty shaky start.
Yeah, I think we saw some of the concerns we had for Reason come to light there as that half went on. Partly the rotations, but partly just the inability to, I think, have proper sight holds between players, especially on the A site. I think you really need to have a good level of understanding with your teammate, a good level of practice down, so that you have maybe one player playing anti-flash or one player in a position where he's not going to get blinded. Otherwise, you're just going to lose to those A executes in quite a few rounds. And so after the aggression stopped working for Pensioners, they basically stopped winning rounds, sadly. Remember, Pensioners came out with 5 rounds very early in the half, and then they basically got nothing for the rest of the half. So Reason really taking over as that half went on.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of lack of firepower present for the Pensioners. We'll see if they can change that. It's going to be more difficult, I'd say, on the T side, though, to sort of rally the troops and get the battle mentality going, because the T side of Nuke becomes a little bit more difficult now with the Krieg nerf. You can't really take those fights towards outside if you lose control of the economy early on. You don't have the AWPs in play. This could be very difficult here for the Pensioners. Reason Gaming would love to get off to the pistol start, would love to get that momentum going. And the Pensioners, unfortunately, were fighting this entire season to get 1 win under their belt. It's kind of strange that it comes against Endpoint.
Yeah, I guess maybe one of the reasons Pensioners did go for this Nuke pick, for what it's worth, could be that that game that Reason had against CEX on Nuke, where they saw CEX get the win. But I don't think Pensioners as a team are going to be able to kind of recreate what CEX were doing there. Because firstly, CEX had to win a ton of really, really important rounds. And then secondly, CEX have been more established as a team. They've got more practice down as a team. They've got more team play. So unfortunately for Pensioners, it's not been happening for them so far. And the other time Reason played Nuke this season was against Nerd Rage, and they took a 16-5 victory. So maybe that's more like what we're going to see in this one if it keeps on going like this. We got the Julies, Dinko.
We do indeed have the Julies. Now, I'm a big fan of this. If Astro decides to play them near the hut area or in towards main, we'll see if that is the case. Certainly a fun pistol to take a look at. I think Astro is one of the players that loves to pick these up a little bit more. We do see him wield it every now and then, and that's exactly where he will be heading.
Pensioners won't be heading in his direction, though. Well, one player will, but the majority of the squad are pushing down Secret right now, and they haven't taken too much damage in the process. In fact, it's Pulse who got dinked down to 5 health as the Pensioners make their march onto the B site.
But there's 2 players waiting for them. It's Stanley and Jaco looking to try and end them before they get anywhere near the site. It's the first kill from Stanley. Probably could have done and should have done more, but at least he stopped the bomb. Push is halted. Luzza finding a kill, a headshot on towards Fry, but Luzza is not long for the world. Picked off by Jenko, who so patiently waits in the back of the bomb site. Now Jake Gam looks to try and recover with his teammate, but there's the Julies and the USP making it work. It now leaves Yuho, a player that stood tall for them in the first half, to try and make it happen, to try and extend his kill count further. And well, Pulse is 5 HP, so this is definitely winnable, but Astro takes him away with the Jewel Berettas. Julie domination.
It comes through. 2 pistols are better than 1 in this case. Reason get the pistol round win on the CT side. I don't mind the call there from the Pensioners, but it was a fairly obvious one. Once they saw 4 players going down secret, Reason had those 2 players rotated, as you pointed out, and that shows how ready they were for that. And they managed to slow Pensioners down pretty significantly there, staying alive on the site, giving time for the rotates, making sure that they had it locked down. So in this next round, Astro will hold long range with the AUG. Not a weapon we've seen too much of, but it did get that little buff recently in terms of when you're unscoped with it. And at these angles, it can be pretty great.
Oh, a nice kill from Fry. Swaggy gone. Stanley getting another one as well. It does leave JKM and Luzza into a 2v5 as the pistol starts to move forward. Pulse will sit back with a Fermancer on the corner. He'll rattle away. It's going to be Astro who takes the kill, and now Luzza all on his lonesome. He has got a deagle and a real chance to find a few at least, but Pulse takes his head off. 11-6 on the board. Reason Gaming steamrolling their way to a more concise victory than the Pensioners would have been hoping for.
Here comes the buy round for the Pensioners, but the nades are very much lacking. They've got 3 smokes, so the yard smokes would be possible for the Pensioners if they know the lineups, which is always a question mark for some teams. Hopefully they do know them if they're going to go for it. But on the Reason side, they're sticking with a fair few of their weakened weapons. They've got 3 MP9s in play, and because of that, they're getting aggressive. Pulse taking the fight to his opponents early on into the round, but it is turned into a 4v4. Oh my god, Fry. Jeez. Just ran through the smoke.
Fry. That is unreal. Find himself a kill. And now it's going to be a 3v3. Pulse sits back in the old vent. JKM up on top of the silo. He'll look down in towards the courtyards over his surfs. But no one spotted. So he has no surfs. Do you surf, Alex?
I do not surf. I've never surfed in my life.
Me neither.
Do I look like the kind of guy that would surf?
Bodyboarded.
Okay. That's more than me.
And if you don't like one of those, you know, those, what do you call those bucking robots? I don't know what, the sort of ball thing you sit on.
Mechanical ball thing, yeah.
I've done that, but it's a surfboard. And I sucked at it really bad.
Yeah, that sounds hard.
Yeah, and really bad. Anyway, Pulse should be on for a nice little flurry of kills here. His teammate takes the initial attention, but they're going to drop to the vent. There's one. Should realize that now the Pensioners are sprinting with the Zimmer frames towards the lower bomb side. Now Astro, he'll throw the Molotov towards the back of the site, forces him out to the left side, and while this AUG, should have got a kill, but Swaggy wins the battle. And I've got a 2v2. Yes, the players and Pensioners are low, but they've got good positions. Had good positions, and now it's Yuho left in a 1v2.
Yeah, got to get aggressive here, and he doesn't get the headshot. Jenko remains on top of the situation, wins the fight, and wins Reason the round. And Reason there, after saving some guns over, after carrying over some weaker weapons from the previous round, it's nice that they got aggressive at the start of that round with some of those guns, because it allowed them to quickly upgrade to one of those AKs. They turned it into a 3v3. They made life difficult for Pensioners, which was nice to see, and it worked out nicely for them. They win on the 3v3. They win the retake on B, but with the bomb plant, Pensioners can continue to buy. It's just with almost no nades. They've got 3 smokes and a single flashbang, and they're going to put all their smokes over on Yard. Maybe not. They've only put 1 smoke for now. I'd expect to see the follow-up smokes.
Astro.
Not yet, though.
Oh, I love this position. This is one of my favorite spots to play. Just in behind the generator. Take 1, fall back. You've got solid cover. Very difficult to predict because when the players turn around the corner, they're always looking at heaven instead of your spot. So you have that advantage. A few seconds for them, or milliseconds for them, to try and train their crosshair back to where you are. So it's good to have a little bit of an advantage here, Astro. Let's see what they do. They peek in towards him. There was nearly a collateral opportunity, but Astro, unfortunately, not landing anything. He'll relocate his crosshair back in towards Hell. He might just get another chance here with his glass. Oh, there we go. Luzza. Things are going from bad to worse here for Luzza, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure Astro tried to kill his teammate. Luzza just got caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, unfortunate for Pensioners, but it's just not happening for them. I love that Astro plays safe after that kill as well. You've got such a big advantage, and it is a complete collapse from Pensioners. They lose that round without a single frag. And honestly, that might be them down and out of this game now. 13-6 behind. The money is bad. There are very few positives if you are a Pensioners fan right now.
Yeah, Yuho's playing good. 20 and 17. At least that's something much better than the rest of his team. Connor, we pointed him out for playing okay, but he's, when I pointed that out, I was nearly at the start of the game when he had 12 kills. Now he's got 13. So no one really showed up other than Yuho. It's just completely lacking firepower here for the Pensioners. Swikey gets one on the Deagle. Fry gone. Man advantage here on the T side. At least the Pensioners have that to play with, but will it be enough? Swaggy taking significant damage.
Stanley's had a pretty solid game so far. He will reposition over at Ramp Room. Might want to play a slightly safer spot here. And wow, Yuho's got down the vents. That's something that Reason have got to deal with. Stanley close by, playing behind this smoke, and he should get a freebie. Looking for more as he hears Jacob is running around close by. But that smoke's going to fade soon, so Stanley's got to be careful here. Second frag found. Assistance comes in from Pulse. And Luzza has got to see if he can find this man. And look at Stanley wrapping around. No clue on the Luzza side of things. He goes down, and Stanley absolutely dominates the Ramp Room.
Stanley owns the Ramp Room, and well, it's going to be 14-6. You know what? I was just going to say, Stanley has stamped his authority on the Ramp Room, right? Because nice. Then I reminded of myself of that book. Was Flat Stanley or something? You put him in an envelope. It was like
I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest. Is this some Flat Earth book that you've read? No.
It's like a... What is it? It's a really famous children's book.
I think I haven't vaguely heard of this. Yeah. I just haven't thought about it in 10 years.
Yeah, you have to read it in primary school and stuff. Yeah.
Connor's bought an SG Dinko. And it's worked.
Go on, Connor. Keeping the dream alive. He's the pioneer for the Weaker Krieg Foundation. I need to call you Mitch. Alex.
I never want to be compared to Mitch. Never.
I know. Why would you possibly not want to be compared to him?
I wonder.
He's got a few issues going on, but
Stanley had that reload. Oh, mate. He's got the backstab.
Has he? Oh, there we go. Stanley will get it. Not for a second. JK might have escaped. 3v3. Back into even odds. Yuho with a headshot. Pulse immediately trading back, so that's good for the Reason side. Unfortunate, though, for the Pensioners. You have to rely on Luzza to try and make a play. He's done damage, but Yuho's dropped in the sight, and Pulse gets rid of him. It's now all onto Luzza. Is he lying? Yeah, pretty badly as well. Ah, God, it's not Luzza's day, but he still finds a kill on the Glock, and now Pulse is 12 HP. Luzza could win this.
Oh, where's he going? He decides to go down ramp. This is the right call. Pulse, though, I think is rotating down the vents pretty soon, or at least he's close to the vents, so he can hear this bomb plant. He probably is going to make noise as he rotates down here, though, or he might slowly go down the ladder. So there we go. The lack of information from Luzza is going to keep him guessing in this clutch.
Luzza just hiding, just biding his time, lying like a madman. Well, we'll see if that plays into his favor. Up to the right, he looks the low HP, and there it is. Luzza, if there's ever a time to shine, it was there. You've got the lie caveat, you've got everything against you, and you still win it. Impressive.
Instant technical pause called as well.
Yes, I wonder what that could possibly be.
Even though he won that round, he might want to have a look at that. But good work from Luzza there. Coming away with the round win. Somehow gets it done. At this point, just win rounds by any means necessary really is the aim of this for Pensioners, because they are so far behind on their T side. The money for Reason is very lopsided, but it is pretty good across the board. They'll be able to get a good buy together. Astro can have the AWP if he wants it. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets it into his hands. Pensioners are going to have a lot more work to do throughout this game. Connor also doesn't have a helmet, which is always a bit of a shame on the T side. Susceptible to those M4 one-shot headshots. Good to see a bit more impact from Luzza, though. Like we were saying, he was a bit quiet on the first half. More just because he wasn't able to get involved in the action enough. But this time he was put in a winnable position, and he makes the most of it. And there is that ult for Astro.
If Pensioners lose this round, then it's over, I'd say. So this is probably the most important round for the Pensioners so far. They have to really show us what they're made of coming into this. They have to try and get it going. They have to turn it into consistent success. They seem to have fixed all their issues with Luzza lagging. And well, we'll get right back into the action. It's going to be an AWP in the hands of Astra. Rifles in play for the rest. AKs galore on the T side.
Might be a quick play. Yuho having a look at main. Maybe if he got the pick, they would have pulled the trigger, but without the frag, they're just going to hold it back. Swaggy's got to be careful here. There are two players on the other side of this smoke. Once those smokes start fading, we might see some fights. Pulse is backed away, and Stanley's only on 27 health there in the corner, but some noise made by Swaggy. He's got to be careful here.
Well, Swaggy sitting back in behind the red box. And just bide his time. The Pensioners want to get involved. They want to try and get these opening kills to give them a slight advantage to play with. They need this. Everything rides on this round. Stanley in the corner, ready to strike. It's Fry and Stanley almost in tandem, finding the two opening kills. The Pensioners have been laid flat, and this is not going well so far. 50 seconds. Fry, hungry for another kill. He'll be looking down in towards the door and goes for the spam to Luzza. Knows he's trapped in the corner, and there it is. The spam pays off. Jenko stops Connor from walking anywhere near the A-bomb site. It leaves JKM in an unwinnable 1v5. Don't do it to him. Not like this. Oh, he's done it to him. Oh. Shanked him up, left him dead. 15-7 for the Reason Gaming side.
Second knife of the game for Stanley, who's looking so much more comfortable here today than what we've seen from him in the rest of the season so far. Yeah. Looks like he's found his footing on this team in this game, which is great because he's always been a player that we know has the potential. There was a time period where he was over in NA. He was trying to make it work over there, but he's come back to the UK, and this is more of what we want to see from him.
Fan of him as a player. Pulse and Fry finding plenty of kills. It does leave us in a pretty unwinnable position here for the Pensioners. Looking like a 16-7. Fry does get caught off by Luzza. I believe one player has already dropped on the T side, so they're showing the mentality right now for the Pensioners is not so great. And there it is. The cleanup is in. It's going to be a 16-7 win. The Pensioners will unfortunately get dominated this week. Last week they got their first win, but back to normality, I think, for the Pensioners.